Welcome back to Bitcoin Capital. My name is Jesse Knudsen. I'm head of operations at Bitfinex Securities. Today, we're very lucky to have with us two pioneers in capital markets. First, we have Michele Mattioda, who manages investor relations at Mikro Kapital and is also a director. Mikro Kapital is a leader in the microfinancing industry with more than 1 billion euro in investments, 250 portfolio companies, and operations across 14 separate countries. In the fourth quarter of last year, Mikro Kapital also executed one of the world's first tokenized bond offerings. We're also very happy to have with us Roberto Laguardia, CEO and founder of Inverlag. Roberto has more than 35 years of experience in property development and hospitality across Latin America and Asia. Inverlag was also recently approved to issue tokenized debt in El Salvador to build the first airport hotel in the El Salvador International Airport. This issuance will also be the first Bitfinex Securities issuance in the El Salvador regime. Roberto, Michele, welcome to Bitcoin Capital.
Thank you very much, Jesse. Thank you for hosting us. I'm very delighted to join this session with you tonight.
Thank you for your time, Jesse, and for this invitation. It's greatly appreciated, and it's good to see you again. Michele, good to see you too. And nice meeting you as well.
All right, that's great. So maybe we can start with brief introductions. Michele, do you mind starting and giving a brief introduction to Mikro Kapital?
Well, certainly, yes. Mikro Kapital focus on impact finance and microfinance. We operate through securitization fund in Luxembourg that issue bonds to offer to professional and institutional investors, and we fundraise for our own activities that we carry across East Europe and Central Asia. Over there, we have developed a network of company doing service for small and medium entrepreneurs. We provide microcredit, micro-leasing, and sharing economy solution to small and medium entrepreneurs, supporting their development and generating a positive impact on local communities. Over this 16 years track record, despite financial market turbulence, our default rate has been very low, below 1%, ensuring a remarkable risk-reward ratio. So we position ourselves with as one of the first leading operator in microfinance and providing access to financial service in emerging market across East Europe and Central Asia for small and medium entrepreneurs.
That's great, thank you. And Roberto, can you give a high-level introduction to the Hampton by Hilton El Salvador International Airport project?
Yes, it goes back to the year 2017 when I was invited to invest in my home country. I have been busy developing in Asia for the last 35 years. I'm a real estate developer. We are owners, developers, and builders of real estate, commercial space, residential, and for the last 10 years, our focus has been hospitality. This is why we were interested in and invited to invest in El Salvador. An opportunity was presented to us, which is it was to build the first hotel at the airport. We don't have one at the moment. So this was, as a real estate developer, we found it to be an extremely attractive opportunity. And it's quite a large tract of land that is but it's semi-developed, and it's just a 3-minute walking distance from the terminal when you exit the airport. Well, we are on airport grounds, and we were happy to be invited to invest. This is a project that goes back to the year 2017 when a lease agreement was signed with the government at the time, and we started with securing permits and also designing the hotel. I have worked with with several brands, international hotel brands, and we did research in the regional area, And we decided after extensive research and statistics, we looked at a lot of numbers, and we decided on Hilton, on the Hilton brand. It's quite known in the region, and this being an airport hotel, one of their most successful brands at near airports, it's the Hampton by Hilton. And this is when we signed an agreement with them, and we went ahead and hired as well an architect, one of the most notable architectural firms in the country, in El Salvador, and started the planning stages together with Hilton. And by the way, Hilton is the owner of the brand. We are the owners and developers, and we went ahead and started construction prior to the pandemic. So it was we felt it was time to go back and go back to complete the construction of this airport hotel, which is essential in any airport, especially international airport. The El Salvador International Airport, by the way, it's a hub for Latin America. It serves as a hub between North American passengers. It's a very important infrastructure, and as I said earlier, it is essential for the development of our country and for the airport to have a hotel located within airport grounds.
That's great. And I think also really exciting timing too, given the surge in tourism in El Salvador as they continue with some of the reforms that are being implemented in El Salvador. So moving on, one of the consistent themes I've noticed amongst our issuers and the people that we talk to at Bitfinex Securities is a struggle to access capital. And Michele, I think this is exactly microcapital's core business. So my question is, why do so many businesses, especially in developing and emerging markets, struggle to access capital?
Yes, well, we can look at this question at two levels. First of all, because microcapital controls the full value chain end to end, and so we have experience in how difficult it is accessing a capital at the level of institutional investor, but also until the very last mile of our activity, working with the small and medium entrepreneurs on the ground at the level of the local companies. So first, obviously, SMEs, small and medium entrepreneurs, are very often disregarded by banks, and they are struggling to access capital because of their size, because of the slow process of approval of banks, even though sometimes they are already onboarded by banks, and so they could access to loans directly from a bank, but the time that the bank will need to generate the report and to disburse a loan sometimes is too much for this lively environment of small entrepreneurs that should immediately get access to credit. And another reason is very often that small and medium entrepreneurs are not structured enough to have sufficient documentation, reporting, evidence, and guarantee to provide to the bank. In this case, microfinance institutions are the solution. So we are able to, we know the market locally, we know the microeconomy, we know the social dynamics and the little dynamics of the community. We are able to assess the risk of these small and medium entrepreneurs and provide them with a fast, efficient service that protect also obviously our interest in terms of risk analysis, and by taking tangible good as a collateral, we obviously protect the repayment and reimbursement of the loan. But our expertise as a microfinance institution is effectively to serve this underserved companies in territory outside of the big towns, sometimes in rural areas, where traditional banking system is not efficiently present and is not making enough return compared to other synthetic financial service that a bank is doing. So we are not inventing anything special. We're just going back to basic and financing small and medium entrepreneurs at their need. But the second level, where we can look at your question, so how to access to capital market, is at the level of the microfinance institution as well, because these entities are very often less regulated than a bank. This is why they are more efficient, more fast in taking decision, in disbursing loan and servicing clients, but obviously they cannot hold deposits. So this limit the capacity of attracting funding and having resources to disburse loans themselves. And this is why Mikro Kapital enters here. We support the growth of our own proprietary network of microfinance institution. We are open to acquire new microfinance institution exactly to reiterate our business model, that is to control the full value chain from investor until the disbursement of the loan to the small and medium entrepreneurs. Obviously, these microfinance institutions are also provided receiving financing from DFIs, development financial institution, or other specialized fund. It's a very solid business from the credit risk point of view, the one of a microfinance institution. The only bad thing that can happen is a bad organization and bad management that can potentially default a microfinance institution, or the currency hedging risk coverage, which sometimes those local companies are not able to manage. But in this case, again, Mikro Kapital is able to provide knowledge about management, to implement policy about risk management, to implement a proper governance, and to cover the hedging risk at the level of Luxembourg centralized, because obviously we have financial sophisticated techniques to operate also on that aspect. So at the end, tokenization and the support of platform like the one of Bitfinex allows us as Mikro Kapital to collect financial resources in order to direct where effectively is more difficult to attract them, so microfinance institutions and small medium entrepreneurs, because the general perception of that business is that is far away from our understanding, that is not profitable enough or too risky. But it's just a lack of knowledge, and since we are doing our best and what we know best in the country, we know the most, we believe that our risk management and business activity are effectively very efficient, and they can bring satisfaction and results to our investors.
Roberto, is that in line with your experience? Why did you choose tokenization rather than pursuing other financing options like a bank loan or something more vanilla?
Yes, the largest or the biggest challenge entrepreneurs we are and developers that which is my area of expertise. The challenge is that banks, their lack of liquidity. So due to their lack of liquidity, banks tend to focus on consumer finance, mostly credit cards and car financing, where they cannot obtain much higher yields. El Salvador reminds me, in fact, of the Philippines, where I have lived most of my professional life. I arrived in the Philippines over 30 years ago, and I remember I experienced a similar situation. The lack of liquidity at that time in the early 90s. And this is where I feel El Salvador is at similar time or era as I saw it in the Philippines. So this is also a good opportunity for us to develop. It's a growing, fast-growing market, but once again, the lack of liquidity is our biggest challenge, and we are very fortunate to be able to tokenize our debt on the blockchain. It's really it's a groundbreaking way of accessing capital, and we are very happy and lucky to be part of this.
Yeah, I think it's something that's really exciting, and if we can kind of solve this problem, then I think it's a win-win for kind of everybody. It's good for investors. It's good for the local economy. It funds infrastructure builds that are much needed, and also job creation. Roberto, what's the estimate for job creation for your project?
Yes, we expect to hire over a thousand persons. Let's consider it as well that one person represents a family. So we will be hiring 1,000 persons during the construction of or the completion of the construction of our hotel for during the first 12 months. Which we expect it to be operational mid-year, mid 2025. At that time, this project will benefit 5,000 direct and indirect. We will have 5,000 indirect and direct job openings. So this is it's going to be massive. The social and economic impact on the area, which is mostly rural, and we are also very happy to be able to contribute to the development of that area, of that region in El Salvador, and we're very excited.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, when you think about the impact and a $6.25 million raise, and we can create 5,000 jobs. If we can do 10 more of those this year, then I think that really moves the needle economically. That's really exciting. Michele, you did your offering with us through the AIFC, the Astana International Financial Center, the other regime where Bitfinex Securities is registered. But I know you've also been studying the regime in El Salvador. How would you differentiate between the two jurisdictions?
Oh, good question. Actually, yes, we started, and Astana was our first experience ever with tokenization. We went through the approval of the local regulator for our prospectus. So our main supporting document for our bond issuance, the traditional bond issuance, was utilized as well and submit to the local regulator in Astana for approval. And they have gone through it very rigorously, and they have approved for professional investors. So that's the main characteristic, that effectively we continue to do an offering to professional investor only, which is maybe the main difference with El Salvador, that offered the opportunity to open up this token project also for retail investor, provided that the issuer will pass the regulatory appointed certifier verification. So there is an intermediary body in El Salvador, which is before the local regulator, and that will have to approve and certify the issuer. This is, I think, very professional from El Salvador, because in this way they have appointed an external body that is taking all the job of scrutinizing several issuer and select which one is more reputable, more ready, more structured to effectively go and run the issuance of a token and provide service to investors, including therefore also retail investor. So this is the largest opportunity. We need to study from our side, from the regulatory point of view of Luxembourg, because we remain an issuer from Luxembourg. But effectively, the flexibility that El Salvador offer for broader access to capital, it's great. So I think that's the main difference from the two: access to retail potentially and broader distribution of the token.
Yeah, to clarify, so within the El Salvador regime, there's three consistents of the approval process. So there's the DASP, the Digital Asset Service Provider, like Bitfinex Securities. There's the regulator, the National Digital Asset Commission of El Salvador, SENAD. And then there's the third role, which is kind of a unique role that Michele mentioned, which is the third certifier. And then there's the minimum ticket size, as Michele alluded to, is you can set it yourself. So the lowest one I've seen so far that's been approved is $100. And the one for Roberto's issuance is $1,000. So obviously that's much lower than the kind of accredited levels of, $100,000 or several $100,000 that we've seen previously in the AIFC. Michele, and then matching that up versus a conventional offering, you guys are also very experienced in doing conventional offerings. I think you do a conventional bond offering almost every month. What do you think are the primary differences between a tokenized and a conventional offering?
Yes, we do it since 2008. Bond issuance is our bread and butter, I would say. So we are very experienced in dealing with all the intermediaries body that are necessary to do a traditional bond issuance, and they are really many. So we have our paying agent, there is the common depository, there is the clearinghouse, there is the depository bank of the client, and there is the branch, and so several intermediaries which are not present in this tokenization process. And I think this is the main advantage of a tokenized security. Investor can see all the settlement and transaction step on the blockchain directly. So it's much more transparent, and the process is more direct with fewer intermediaries, reducing cost, basically increasing efficiency. From the issuer perspective, it simplifies by eliminating the need for multiple intermediaries body and infrastructure. Effectively, with our token issuance, we rely on the platform of Bitfinex, and then each investor is onboarded by the platform. It's obviously whitelisted and approved, but then you can take your token and transfer to wherever you want in your wallet. You just have to return to the platform in order to receive your coupon and reimbursement. But it's very much efficient. There is no physical custody of the certificate. Everything is native on the blockchain. You don't need transfer agent. You don't need settlement. Everything is more direct and is more transparent. So it's obvious that these are characteristic of the blockchain. But I think it's, if we analyze and we look at what are the advantages, this is really amazing.
So in your view, as someone who's done so many of these conventional bond issuances, where do you see capital markets going in the next maybe 10 or 20 years? Do you think that it moves more towards tokenization and we lose more of these intermediaries and issuers are able to interact with investors more directly?
Yeah, well, all these intermediaries are effectively, they were created in order to protect investors. But as always, the need of protection, it creates bureaucracy, it creates lengthness, it creates slowness. So it's not always then the result we were expecting. And in the future, the possibility to have a tokenized security through a platform obviously will open up to many more investor, which will see in this increase of efficiency, reducing cost. It's just a matter of transition as well in the investor mindset, that They should be open to custody their own assets without relying necessarily with a bank, with a third-party custodian agent that is essentially in the past it was very necessary. So you go to a bank because you want to be safe, you want your physical money to be stored in a safe place and nobody will steal it. But nowadays everything is digital anyhow, so we don't need this
Yeah.
thousand infrastructure in between. The platform and the blockchain is transparent, it's secure, it's direct. So I don't know if there will be many more tokenized issuance, but I think this is going forward much more fast, efficient, and it's definitely the direction in which we would all like to look.
Michele, you're sounding more and more like a Bitcoiner the longer I get to know you. Roberto,
when you look from this topic a little bit from outside and you're not into all the process, you cannot catch the nitty-gritty details of the pros and cons. But effectively, I think this is good results having seen from inside.
Yeah, I think so. And this is one of the interesting things that I noticed as well, is that I think that Micro Capital and Bitfinex Securities have a lot of the same goals and I think values, and then we've just taken different approaches to kind of reach the same goals, which I think is really, really interesting. Roberto,
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Michele.
I was just in full agreement with you. And tokenization not only simplified the process and access to capital market, but for us as Micro Capital is intended as well the use of blockchain across our own network of companies. We are among different jurisdictions, different countries. This is obviously another topic, but we would like to integrate smart contract, blockchain, and use of crypto as well as at least on the stable coin within our organization. It's just a matter of finding the right approach with the local regulator as well.
That's great. And Roberto, talking about the differences between the AIFC regime and the differences between tokenization and conventional issuances, I think one of the differences for you is that you're allowed a slightly more novel structure. And that includes things like some of the investment incentives that you've designed around your issuance. Can you talk about that and then share any feedback that you've had from investors?
Yes, we have very, very interesting incentives for investors. From a minimum investment of $10,000 US, so that would be 10 tokens. You get to stay with us for free. 2 nights per year for free, and it goes up to a million. A million investment. For a million investment, we designed something which I believe it's going to be very interesting for a lot of Bitcoiners or Bitcoin enthusiasts. Because there are so many who are visiting El Salvador, thousands visiting El Salvador now since for the past 2 years. So for a million investment on the second year, because this hotel will be completed within 12 months' time. So on the second year, he or she will get to stay with us if he wishes or if she wishes the entire year, for the remainder of the bond, which is 5 years. So the remainder will be 4 years. I was speaking to an investor a couple of days ago, and he was telling me that he had spent last year. He spent 2 months in El Salvador, which is 60 days, and he spent already a month, and we are not even half into the year. So I mentioned this opportunity where he gets to enjoy 10% interest payment every year, paid semi-annually, and with a 250,000 investment, which is what he had in mind, he gets to stay with us 75 nights. So that's more than 2 months every year. These in terms of a nightly rate, which is close to $150, including the taxes. That's another 5% added to the 10% interest payable. So he's very excited because he gets to stay with us, and he asked me if he could get a special treatment, and of course he will. So I can see this with other investors who are visiting El Salvador. I can see many approaching us. These are as you mentioned, Jesse, novel perks, and we are in an exceptional location. We are at the airport, and only a 10-minute drive to a beach, to the nearest beach. So I think this is we have seen a lot of interest, not only because of the yield, but also because of they get to stay with us for free as VIPs, of course.
I'm booking a flight for. I'm booking a flight for June 2025. Roberto, wait for me in the new hotel.
I will personally be there to welcome you, Michele. I will personally be there. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
That's great. So I think another interesting thing is that financial services, the industry, Michele, that you're in, and then property development, construction, hospitality, like very literally brick and mortar businesses. I think this is not what people expect when they think of tokenization. So I think when people think of tokenization, there's kind of a bias. There's an expectation that we're doing raises for tech companies. So what is it about tokenization that appeals to you, Roberto?
What appeals to us is being able to access capital from all over the world in the same manner that you can book our rooms. I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. We've been able to book rooms for the last 20 years online. So the blockchain is perfect, not only to book your room for free, but also invest in the infrastructure where you're going to be staying. So this is novel, this is groundbreaking, and we are very excited to be part of this new frontier. Being able to access capital from investors that normally will not be able to be presented with these opportunities. Normally, you will have to be a high net worth individual, and I've seen that happening all over Asia. High net worth individuals who are presented with very unique opportunities. So this broadens the access to developers of, as you said, brick and mortar like us, and we develop. I'm also in the technology business as well, because the bookings are all also done through are done online. It just that ours is we need both components, the digital component and also the physical infrastructure, and this is what we've been doing for the last 35 years. We know this business very well, the building business.
Yeah, I think it's the democratization of finance. It's letting more people participate in different kinds of investments. And then it's also, I think there's an angle to it too, where, it lets you support different countries and different regimes and different policies that you line up with maybe philosophically. So I think a lot of people in the Bitcoin community support what's happening in El Salvador. So it's a chance to kind of support that with your wallet by investing in different infrastructure projects in El Salvador. So I think that's something that's really unique and a big change to capital markets, as well as being able to kind of vote with your dollar and also move with your feet as people become more fluid and you're able to move around the world a little bit more. Michele, microfinancing, I think, is definitely at the progressive end of financial services, but, you're also very much, as we spoke about, you're very much rooted in traditional finance as well. So I think maybe the same question applies to you, and you touched on it a bit earlier, but what about tokenization appeals to you and your company?
Well, the tokenization is, as said, the most direct way to access investors, which are on the platform and have been onboarded on the platform quite fast, just going through an online and digitalized process without going to a bank, having the problem of opening a bank account, bringing all documents in signature paper. So this is very old-fashioned, but it's still the main and most used way to get access to any financial market. And but imagine for a moment these small entrepreneurs and daily user of uh, activities and daily those that run the daily basic sector of the economy. Okay, and very often we work with from our experience with entrepreneurs that have only one bank account and they don't even have a security account. Okay, these are definitely not the target for our token issuance when we talk about professional investor, but they are anyway the prototype of the user of tokenized platform when, for example, in El Salvador, we would come to retail investor because they don't have to go through the approval of a banking process for their account, paying custodian fee every year, paying depository fee, paying management fee, transaction fee. There are a lot of costs involved, even just in the maintenance of your bank account and to be able to invest. So everything is basically not there when it comes to direct market access through a tokenized security, directly connecting issuer with investor. And for us as in Mikro Kapital, this is in line with our DNA. So we like to cut intermediaries. We do not invest through third parties along our chain, but we have created ourselves the network of microfinance institution in order to have direct access to the small and medium entrepreneurs. And so philosophically is very near and close to the concept of tokenization. And I can tell you even more. Blockchain in general, it's one of our goal to implement across our business model in order to sign contracts for our end borrowers in order to implement fast transaction across countries and fast delivery of liquidity between all our network of companies.
That's amazing. And Roberto, obviously one of the big stories in El Salvador, and I think one of the big successes of the Bukele administration is the repatriation of both capital and talent back into El Salvador. And I think you're in a perfect example of this. You spent most of your career in Asia, you were born in El Salvador, and now you've come back to commit capital, build this amazing infrastructure project. What pulled you back into El Salvador?
Yes, the government invited me in the year 2017. I think they found out what I was doing here in Asia, and they invited me to invest in infrastructure. And at first, my interest was to build a resort. I like beaches, and I decided my focus when I first arrived was to look for a beautiful piece of property by the beach. By the way, there are amazing beaches in El Salvador, amazing water temperature the whole year around. Here I am selling my country, marketing. So I was presented, as I said earlier, with this opportunity to build a hotel at the airport. I was even wondering, how is this even possible that we don't have a hotel at the airport? And that's when I became even more interested and decided to come back and give back to my country. The country raised me. I went to public schools, by the way, and so I never had to pay for school um, uh, for up until high school. That's when I left the country. So I think it's time to give back, repay. The country educated me, um, and I had amazing math teachers, by the way, and I think that had helped me tremendously in life. Yes, and it's just only fair for me to go back and share my experience here in Asia. I lived in Europe as well. My experience in building. I'm a builder. Been building for over 35 years. I keep on saying that. uh, in uh, in El Salvador needs a lot of infrastructure, especially hospitality infrastructure, and the economic impact uh, of developing or building this infrastructure is tremendous. I have seen it. I have seen it all over Southeast Asia, how it transforms local economies, especially in the rural areas.
Yeah.
It's amazing what can be done with infrastructure, and this is what brought me back to El Salvador.
Yeah, as you said, 5,000 jobs, and it's not just 5,000 jobs, it's 5,000 families, and it's kids in those families being able to go to school and all this kind of other stuff. That's just such a massive ripple effect on the economy. And that's just one $6.25 million investment. So you could really get a lot of bang for your buck. It's really exciting. Michele, I know that Microcapital's focus is more in Eastern Europe, Central Asia. You've got an expanding office in Hong Kong, so I think you're also moving into Greater China as well. But there seems to be a lot of optimism in El Salvador and a lot of growth. Do you see an opportunity for microfinancing in El Salvador or maybe more broadly in Latin America?
Definitely, yes. When you think about microfinance, actually you think about Latin America, Southeast Asia, and Africa. It's maybe microcapital. It is a bit outside of the regular activities because we targeted East Europe and Central Asia, which are countries where we find tremendous opportunities, and we find the mindset is very entrepreneurial of all the population we work with. But obviously the natural habitat for microfinance is those lively community of the Southeast Asia or even the Central America. So Central America and Latin America would be the perfect next step for our development. Obviously, we need strong knowledge of the market. In order to enter there, we would need to do it with a partner and someone who is deeply connected with the local regulation, local knowledge of dynamics. But definitely, microfinance could expand in all those geographies. Wherever you find an entrepreneur that is willing to put himself in front of challenges, in front of opportunities, and that is underserved by banks. And I think I'm speaking for the large, vast majority of entrepreneurs all over the world. We can operate there. But definitely, the lively environment of Latin America is providing a good base for microfinancing activities.
And what kind of feedback have you had from investors and stakeholders after executing your first tokenized issuance? Was feedback positive or negative, or what did you hear from your investors and various stakeholders?
It was overwhelming positive. Really, investor appreciate the speed of the process, our confidence in embracing new technologies, in being open to explore new opportunities, and they also value the reduced risk associated with working with multiple banks, jurisdiction, and intermediaries. As said, the less people, the less intermediaries are in the chain, the more direct the transaction is. So you have less cost, you are more efficient, you are more secure, which sometimes all these multiple counterpart can be disruptive for an efficient business, and we might be slow, we might have different problems. The more ring you have in a chain, the most possibility you can break one. So they were really amazed about these new opportunities, and I find that this is worldwide a big enthusiasm. Of course, part is driven by the Bitcoin appreciation, but I think the Bitcoin appreciation is driven by the increased knowledge of this technology by the community. So I don't know if it's the question of chicken and egg. What is influencing first? The enthusiasm is influencing the Bitcoin rally, or the Bitcoin rally is influencing the enthusiasm? This I don't know, but I can tell you
It's a
that
lot of things. Yeah. Yeah,
yes.
that's really good to hear. And Roberto, I know that you have other properties in your portfolios and other opportunities that you're looking at. And when we complete this raise, what are your thoughts for future projects? Do you have anything in the pipeline that you can tease us with?
Yeah, Jesse, it's my experience with you. I think we known each other for a few months.
Yep.
And my experience with you has been amazing. And I definitely, we are going back, and we are prepared already for another project in El Salvador. This time it will be a beach hotel, a beach resort. We have identified the site, and it will be also international. There will be a hotel international brand attached to it. It won't be Hilton. It will be a bigger brand, or a different brand. And also in the Philippines, we own an island in the Palawan area. It's a beautiful island.
A small 80-acre island.
Yes, we intended to develop prior to the pandemic, and I think this is an opportunity for us to come back and do a third project on the Bitfinex platform. So we are gonna keep you very busy, Jesse. I don't know whether you're gonna be happy to hear that, or probably not so happy, because
no, of course, no. It's all very, very exciting. Well, I appreciate your time today, both Michele and Roberto, and your insights. If people want to learn more about Mikro Kapital, where can they go, Michele?
Well, our website is fully transparent. There are all the information from financial statement to our current traditional bond offering, presentation about the company, presentation about our coverage, international, where we are, what we do, what is our impact, what are our ESG characteristic, our board. So it's pretty much complete to visit our website. But of course, feel free to reach me out on LinkedIn, feel free to reach me out via email, or as well be posted and check the Bitfinex platform security, because we will be there again.
Oh, that's great to hear. Great. And Roberto, if people want to learn more about Inverlag hotels and your project at the airport, where can they go to learn more?
Yes, of course. Please log in to inverlaghotels.com, or you could also reach me via Instagram, Roberto. Are there any questions that you might have, or perhaps you're looking for a VIP card? I'll be happy to work on it. We have a lot of free nights available, and we have a lot of interest so far. We are very, very pleased, very happy. So we wanted to remind you that our token will go live May 13th. And we're inviting you all to be part of history in El Salvador.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Jesse. Michele,
you.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
I think I will be your customer on our next, either your customer or your partner.
And I will be the guest of the hotel then. I must be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you,
Great.
Jesse,
Thank you,
for
guys.
hosting us.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Goodbye.
All right.